Welcome to this session. So first of all, thanks to our partner, Untitled Chapter, for hosting us and inviting us for this session. Today we'll talk about AI and how to use AI and hyper-personalization in e-commerce. I'm from Turkey. I've been living in Barcelona since the last 7 years. I have engineering background, but all my professional career I've been working in digital marketing in different kind of companies like agencies, e-commerces, and startups. Currently, I'm running Frizbit since the last 6 years, which you will understand what we do at the end of the presentation. So, some questions before we start. So, who doesn't like going to shopping? Who doesn't like going out shopping? Okay, so the majority looks like doesn't like going to shopping. Another question, and I'm really curious for the answer. If you have to go to shopping, do you prefer going with someone or alone? Let's say, who prefer to go with someone? Yeah, okay. So my last question is, do you find it difficult to make a decision if there are a variety of options? So a lot of options, do you find it difficult or it's easy? Difficult ones? Okay, so you're not alone, because it is natural. But why is it so difficult for us if there are more options? Instead of making it easier, why it makes it more difficult? And basically it is because we are worried that our decision will not be the best one. So I don't know if you know him. He is Barry Schwartz, a famous American psychologist, and exactly on his book, which is called The Paradox of Choice, he explains about this phenomenon. The more options we have, more anxiety we will have making a decision, and in the end, we cannot make a decision. That is why we might take someone to go with us when we are going to shopping. That is why for buying a car, we talk to our friends. That is why we get sometimes like professional advice. It is natural that we get some recommendations before we make a decision. Let's get back to the example of shopping. So the experience can be quite different in physical stores and online stores. So majority already said that they don't like going to shopping, but still in the physical stores, there are sales assistants. So you go there, they know all their inventory, you ask them what kind of product you want, and then they help you. So they give you recommendations, like this would good on you, this would be best with you, etc. But on the other side, on online websites, there is no sales assistants. Lately, there are some chatbots, but it's not the same. And on the other hand, why the experience is different? Because on a regular store like Zara or Gap, there are, except the variations of size and color, there are around like 200 different models. So, which is a limited number, and that is why it is not that complex. But if you go to an online store can have unlimited number of products, because basically there is no restriction of the inventory. So that makes even the decision-making process more difficult. That is why many users, after passing through different stages of the sales funnel, they cannot decide, and the conversion rates on the online stores can be as low as 1%. So 99% of the visitors leave without buying. And in order to resolve this problem, most of the retailers are using recommendations. So this is, for example, Gucci's website. Gucci, every season they create different models, different collections, and in these collections they already create the collections with their combinations. So for example, on their website there is this model, and then all the clothes which she is putting on is already there, because they are deciding, handpicking these recommendations beforehand. But this can be useful for Gucci, for Armani, not only because like their products are more expensive, but also because they have less amount of collections. But what if you have thousands of products in your online store? So You cannot manually define combinations for thousands of products. It might take ages. So that is why e-commerce companies need recommendation systems. And not only e-commerce is actually, recommendation systems are in our life, even if we are not aware of. Let's talk about some recommendation systems based on AI applied in real life. So, just to summarize, I mean, this part is a little bit more technical, but I want you to understand the AI part. So there are mainly three methods which are commonly used in product recommendation systems. So they're content-based filtering, collaborative, and deep learning. So let's talk about movies, which are more fun than e-commerce. So the content-based filtering uses the characteristics of each item. Let's say, on an example, the movies. So if someone watches the movie of Shrek, which is an animation, which is a kid-friendly movie, then it can suggest the same user the Minions. Why? Because it's also an animation, because it's also kid-friendly. So that is why, like, content-based filtering uses characteristics of items. So it can be like genre, gear, their length, their type. On the other side, on collaborative filtering, what it does is, instead of using the characteristics of each item, it tries to find similarities between the users. So how? For example, there are two users, so they both watched Shrek and Minions. And then the one on the left also watches Ice Age. And in this case, we can conclude that the other user is quite similar to the first one, so that is why to the second one we can suggest Ice Age. So, and this is basically on the patterns of the user, collaborative filtering users' behavior of the user. So let's check how they are used in real life. No? So on Netflix, for example, there are different sections when I go to the category of films. So in the first line, it says our selection for Ata. Basically, it is mainly using collaborative filtering because it tries to find other users who have my taste, and it suggests movies of the other users who liked similar movies or watched. So just for you to understand some simpler examples. And in collaborative filtering, there are also actually two methods. So we already talked about the user-based. In this one, as I said, if a user likes blueberries and the watermelon, and then if the second user likes the same, can suggest the same third option to the other user. So it is mainly finding similarities of the behavior of the users. And on the other hand, there is item-based collaborative filtering, which tries to find a similarity between the items based on how the users interact with them. So it is also collaborative filtering. Again, like to simplify again some examples. So here there are two songs of Shakira. One is La Tortura, which is in Spanish. And as you can see, their suggestions, they are all Spanish songs. This is not only because La Tortura is Spanish, it is also because like the people who listens Tortura are Spanish speakers. That is why they are listening Spanish songs. But on the other hand, Hips Don't Lie from the same artist, it's an English song, so that is why it's more international. That is why its suggestions is a mix. It has both Spanish songs and English songs. We have explicit and implicit feedbacks. So basically, how do we optimize these algorithms, no? So basically, we receive feedback from the users based on how they interact. So explicit feedback is literally if a user clicks on here and says, okay, I like this song. So this is an explicit feedback. But in most of the cases, it is not possible to get explicit feedback. We cannot ask everyone what do they like in many other situations. So we may need to rely on some implicit feedback, which would be the case if they play a song. It's like a positive thing. But if they skip the song, it is a negative thing. So it's a negative feedback. Or if they put it in a loop, which means that, okay, they loved it a lot, but we didn't ask them for it. So we can see the same type of usage on LinkedIn, for example. Again, it shows me marketing pages to follow, so which is content-based. On the other hand, like it suggests me the pages that my followers are following, so it is more like collaborative filtering. So these are two main methods, and now we have the deep learning method. So in deep learning method, instead of relying on specifically characteristics that we as humans can define, suggest, okay, the user have 30 years old, or they are a woman, or they are based in this location. In the example of the items, like instead of saying that, okay, the genre of this movie is comedy, etc., etc., we first convert these features of the data set so that the machines can understand. We say that, okay, gender is, male or female or non-binary. So they convert this data in numbers, which is called featured embedding. So then we give this to deep neural networks. And what this deep neural network is doing is converting these features into some hyperparameters, as we call it, to optimize the algorithms based on the things that we cannot as humanly describe, but the AI can say that, okay, actually I find a very different relation between these two, and actually this works better. It might not be the genre of the movie, or it might not be the age of the user. So that is why deep learning is used for this, for both sides. And in some cases, none of these models are perfect. And actually sometimes simpler methods like content-based filtering can work better than deep learning. So there is no perfect solution. That is why in most of the cases, companies use all of these methods in different scenarios. So in some cases they use content-based, in some cases they use deep learning. Let's see, like this is the last example from other industries. This is my YouTube. When I'm logged in with my corporate account, I'm seeing some AI videos, startup videos. This is my personal account. I'm seeing some news in Turkish or some music. And if I'm an anonymous user, it shows me some songs. Some of them are Spanish because they are using my location only. They don't have anything about my past behavior. The only tip that they have is my location and the language of my browser. So based on that, suggest me this because my browser is in English. So now we will see how we use recommender systems based on AI in e-commerce. This is a study based on Accenture, and literally like the user says that they want hyper-personalized experiences when they go to shopping, and they choose the brands that they know what they want. Also, this is a retailer in UK, and what we can do is we can show top items. Top items can be like best sellers for the books, but it can be top sellers in such a category, in the category of football shoes, or it can be also based on a brand, so only Adidas, let's say. So we can see top sellers, we can list by top viewed, we can go to top wished, or top added to basket. So these are all different signals that we can use to prioritize our algorithms, and this is mainly used in homepage and listing pages. So let's go to the next page of the funnel. We came to the product page, and on the product page we can suggest recommendations based on similar items to that one. So we can use models which are like, these two products are viewed together, these two products are purchased together, or we can again use all these top sellers. And also, other than the similarity between the items, we can also check which products are better complementaries to the other ones. So for example, this is an example from the website of Primor, so the ones in Spain would know it. So this is a night cream, and it is suggesting me serum or day cream. Why? Because these two products are frequently bought together, and they can be like some good bundles. That is why we can use, for these cases, we can use the models of purchase together or viewed together to understand which are the perfect complements. And then, if we didn't persuade the user, we can suggest again on the cart page before they finish their purchase. And so the thing is, until now we have seen the on-site examples, so the experience that it affects the user while they are still browsing on the website. But what if they left the website, like 99% of the people, then we stop recommending? No. Because if they have accepted some permissions to communication channels, such as email or push notifications, we can still suggest them similar items that they have been browsing, or they forgot something in their cart. We can remind about that product, but also we can suggest some complementaries below that. through, again, the same channel. How this AI is used for, in general, product recommendations. We at Frizbit, how do we differentiate the ones in the market? So these kind of examples in Amazon or in some other websites. And you might be thinking, yeah, but I know them. What are you doing differently? So first, we are using AI algorithms. So most of the examples that you see on many e-commerce websites are basically simply based on statistical models, which are top sellers, or like sellers in the brand, top sellers in the categories. They are very simple algorithms, but they might work. That is why they keep using it. But of course, you cannot get the most optimized solution with just that, because they are simpler algorithms. But what we do is we use the characteristics of the items, such as like category, subcategory, brand, price, and even the description of the products, and also the user, like how users interact with which products, and we come up with the optimum solution, optimum suggestions. And the second is, one of the most common problems in product recommendations is that we might not have enough data. So let's say a new product has been launched, which we have no historical data about such a product. And in that case, all of these AI models cannot literally, or like product recommendation models cannot say anything about it, because that product has never been purchased with another product before. And it happens a lot. I mean, imagine all the thousands of items which exist in the website. So more than half might not have enough suggestions for cross-selling. But in this case, what we do, we have some modular feedback mechanism. If one of the algorithms doesn't give us enough recommendations, then we say, okay, so this is the backup algorithm, use that. And if that one doesn't give enough recommendations, go to the third one. So that is why, I mean, the accuracy might not be that high as in the first one, but still we have more chance to convert the user. And basically these two screenshots is just so that you know, like on Amazon page, the one on the left is when I'm logged in, and the other one is when I'm not logged in. So basically it is all based on how users interact. The other thing, at Frizbit, we not only use on-site, like we don't only rely the interactions while they are browsing, but even if they leave the website, we have our off-site channels such as email, such as push notifications, such as WhatsApp, to still recommend the users with the related products. So these are some examples. We can use WhatsApp, SMS. So it is not only limited to the experience on the site, but even if they leave, we can still keep suggesting them products. So another thing which is important, because like we have seen when we are talking with our clients, in the month of January, or even in February sometimes, some of their providers keep showing the products which are popular in Christmas, such as advent calendars. But I mean, suggesting them still in January or in February, it doesn't make sense. Like no one will buy advent calendars. So that is why it is important to keep renewing the models every day, because every day there is more data on which products are purchased together, which products have been more added to cart. So that is why this is also one of the very common problems that you might see in the other websites. But yeah, we renew our models. Another thing, you might say that, okay, but I have this algorithm and I have this other algorithm. Which one would work the best? So in order to test them, in order to do A/B test, we can simply compare the results of the two algorithms, like 50% of the users can be shown one option from the algorithm A, and in the other one algorithm B, and then you decide which one works better. And the same with A/B testing with algorithms, we can do with the design. For example, this is again like from Primor. So the one on the left, actually, if you see, it has a drop down here and quantity selection. When you click, it is not that visually pleasing. On the other hand, we can come up with a secondary design which shows the colors so that they don't have to go to the drop down, and they can just select with one click the variant, and we can do the A/B tests of this user interface. Sometimes, in some cases, one algorithm might not be good for showing all the recommendations, because none of the algorithms are perfect. That's why, like, in order to have better results, you need to combine them. Let's imagine this is a carousel and there are different slots. So you can dedicate different slots to different algorithms. So you can say that, okay, for the first slot, I will use the weave together. The most weave together product should come there. User base. Okay, this should be a suggestion based on the historical of the user. Topping category. Okay, whichever category the user is browsing, let's put it in the best product of that category. Let's put it here. And lately, you might not believe it, but most of the brands are asking us to be able to define some products manually for each product. Why? Because AI or recommender systems are not perfect. They might have special commercial agreements with some brands that they want to, promote their products more. So we can combine different algorithms in different slots. And lately, like very simple, but it works. So on the left, you see some suggestions which doesn't have a button to add the product to the cart. And on the right, you have some other suggestions which has add to cart. So if I like a product on the left side, I first need to click on the product, go to the product page, and then add to cart. So it's 2 steps. But if I go to the one on the right, I can simply add it to cart to complete the purchase. And obviously the one on the right works much better. So just for you to understand, we hired a PhD person who is specialized in AI and product recommendations 1.5 years ago, and we have been developing our algorithms. And this is our results from the first POC through Perfumerías Primor, which is the largest cosmetic shop in Spain. So mainly with just on-site cross-sales, we can increase the sales by 7%, and it can, by combining with this off-site channels, it can go up to 15% increase in sales. And we increase 20% the average order value, and based on our business model, the return on investment is usually 20x, which means like 2000%. And yeah, as I said, we combine different engagement channels based on where the users in their journey. For example, if they are not logged in, if they are not registered users yet, we might simply ask a permission for browser push notifications. Even though they are not logged in, we can send them push notifications. We can get personal data through a pop-up, such as an email or phone number, and then we can use the CRM channels like email, SMS, and WhatsApp. So mainly these are our channels. We are a cross-channel customer engagement platform with AI-based product recommendations using both off-site and online channels. And we are working with more than 50 clients, mainly in Southern Europe and Latin America. This is all I wanted to tell. So thanks for listening to me and coming. Thanks a lot.